We're talking value pricing. We're talking value selling in a live environment as close to the real thing as we can possibly get. And it's going to be super, 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 super fun. So we're going to explain the rules in the next 60 seconds. And the way that this is going to work is Amanda is going to play the prospective client. Now, I have been out of practice for quite some time, a couple of years in selling, accounting, and bookkeeping and tax service. So just like you, I need process. I need things. I need my C4 sales script, and I've got it at my fingertips right now to be able to help guide me through the process, okay? She is going to do something very, very, very specific. This was given to her ahead of time. Under no circumstance is she to buy from me. Now, why would I make that the case? Why would I make that the case? And let's go ahead and just kick this off now. Why would I say, Amanda, no matter what, you're not going to buy from me? Amanda, what did I say to you before we got started? Do you remember?
Yep, because you want us to expect the best, but prepare for the worst.
Hope for the best.
Hope for the best.
Expect the worst. And so the truth is, most of us are not going to be able to have those calls closed down. So what I want us to do is, yes, I want to give us the opportunities. Yes, I want to have great questions. Yes, all of the C4 methodology, but I also want to make sure that this isn't just some slam dunk like, Amanda, let me throw up some softballs and just come down and oop it. We're not doing that. I want this to be as realistic as possible. So Amanda, besides the information that I would normally request in advance of a call and teach all of my clients to request in advance of a call, have you shared anything about me with your fictitious prospect that you're about to play?
I have not.
Okay. Nothing at all. So what Amanda did share with me, and this is something I encourage everyone to request in advance of an appointment, is essentially really 3 or 4 key pieces of information. So Amanda is going to play Amanda. We're going to keep the name simple, Tyler and Amanda. Why would we change those things? And her business is going to be Amanda's Lighting Service, keeping it very short, sweet, and to the point. I always ask also annual revenue. What was last year's annual revenue? Amanda was kind enough to provide that. She's doing $475,000 last year. Nice. And I also always ask, what is the biggest problem related to your accounting, bookkeeping, or tax needs? And Amanda gave us 3 key words: cash flow management. Cash flow might be 1 word, so it might be 2 words. Not entirely sure. But the point is that is what we're going to do. And so one more request: help us push this into as many feeds as possible. #block party in the comments section down below. Now, Amanda's not there to participate on the block party side of things right now. Normally she's there commenting. So I need you guys to help make up for her energy and push this into as many people's feeds as possible. So let me just make sure there's nothing else I want to cover. Oh, one last thing. I finally figured out what a bonanza is. I've been using this word all week. I literally had no idea what it meant. And so a bonanza is defined as, you're not even going to believe this. You're going to think I make this up, but you can type it into Google. Bonanza is defined as a situation which creates a sudden increase in wealth, good fortune, or profits. Mic drop, right? Okay. So with that being said, Amanda, do you have any additional questions, or is your role and responsibility clear for the role play?
I'm clear.
I'm like really nervous right now. Okay. So the way this is going to work is essentially I'm going to go ring, ring, but it's going to basically just be Zoom. I'll go like this. And then essentially it'll be like Amanda came on, Tyler came on, and the role play starts. We're not going to stop. We're not going to ask questions. Nothing is going to be like, oh, blah, blah, the great teaching point. It's just going to be from beginning to end. And then we'll take a little bit of time to review. Amanda may say, well, I had this in mind, but you didn't bring it up, or I'm not sure. We're going to just go from beginning to end, and then we are going to review it. One last thing before we begin. What I am doing with Amanda is the best teaching tool for sales imaginable. It is the best teaching tool from her perspective and for me to practice. It is the best possible thing you could do, and nothing is stopping any of you from doing this with a partner who has bought Igniter. Nothing is stopping you. And it is the best sales tool you could get. It's getting recorded. I'd be able to watch it, understand what I did right, what I did wrong, what I didn't hear, what I spoke over. It is so, so ridiculously valuable. So please, please, please have a little fun. Role play, right? Be willing to do those things. Okay. That being said, we're getting started in 3, 2, 1. Hi, is this Amanda?
Yes. Hi, Tyler. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Looking forward to today's call.
Likewise, I appreciate this. And it's safe to say that this is still an okay time for you. You've got at least 30 minutes for our call.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to hear that. So in interest of saving us both a bit of time here, I want to cut right to the heart of the matter here. You indicated cash flow management is one of the things you're struggling with related to your accounting, bookkeeping, and tax concerns, but that's kind of broad. Could you tell me a little bit more about that particular issue and how it relates to Amanda's lighting services?
Yeah, so in our business, we do some bigger projects for general contractors.
Okay.
And in doing so, sometimes we're footing the bill for supplies and materials and even labor prior to getting paid. And so I feel like I'm just always struggling with balancing the cash that I need to perform a job and commit to it with, potentially 30 to 60 day delays in getting paid, and really just being able to balance that to continue to scale the business and grow from where I'm at rather than just staying where we are.
Okay. And I appreciate that. And cash flow management, especially for companies that have 30 to 60 day lead times on being able to collect, that's critical to be able to get that done right. Staying on that topic for right now, what have you done to potentially mitigate those issues so far? What have you tried?
So we've had an in-house bookkeeper, but they just don't really grasp the concept of the types of reports I need. And from where I'm standing, I don't necessarily know the reports I actually need. I just know I need a handle on cash flow. Our accountant's not too great with providing that additional service. So I don't know what I don't know. So I don't know what I need to have that answer, honestly.
Okay. No, that's a great answer. And when we think about your accounting picture as a whole, we've got the in-house bookkeeper. Okay. Are they doing anything else besides books? Do they have any other roles or responsibilities inside of the firm?
They assist with payroll and they help get bills paid and collect on invoices, but it's definitely not a full-time role at this point.
About how many hours a week are they working for you?
She's averaging about 25 hours a week right now.
And do you mind if I ask you what her salary is or hourly rate?
We pay her $19 an hour.
Got it. Okay. So $19 an hour times about 25, just 20 to keep it safe. So you're paying her somewhere right in the ballpark of about $450 to $500 a week?
Yep.
Okay. When it comes to your tax situation, when it comes to being able to, you mentioned she handles payroll, and I imagine there might be some other responsibilities in there. Are there any other major problems you're experiencing outside of cash flow that you'd like to share with me?
Well, just like any other business owner, I feel like I pay too much in taxes, but I don't know how to mitigate that. I feel like I'm always a step behind where I should be. I'm so focused on what happened this month and where we're at cash flow wise right now that I don't really have the time or ability to look ahead and be able to really find solutions based on being able to look, 6, 12 months ahead because I'm so focused on right now.
Now, you mentioned the tax situation. Everyone feels like they're overpaying on taxes. And one of the key lessons that I like to impart on our clients is I like to make sure they know that the two things that prevent them from becoming wealthy. Do you have any idea what those two things might be, Amanda?
I have no clue, but it sounds like you're going to enlighten me.
Okay. Well, number one is knowing how to make money. Now you're making $475,000. That's awesome. But when did you start this business?
We started this business 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Wow. So that's pretty good growth. And has it been pretty consistent, 100 each year, or what's really been the growth
From the
trajectory?
first year to second year, we had a lot of growth. The third year was not as much. And then this year, with everything going on in the economy right now, it's really unpredictable what's going to happen. So we're actually thinking that we might end up even less than last year based on what's going on.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, interesting. So preparing for a little bit of a down year, and if you were to just extrapolate that a little bit, I'm going to come back to the question in a minute in terms of the two things, because one is how to be wealthy or how to make money. But when we're saying, okay, fourth year, projecting a little bit down, what is the adjusted amount that you'd expect just within reason right now?
Just based on what we've seen in the last couple of months, I would expect that we're going to be down about 100,000 this year.
Wow. Okay. So that's a pretty serious decrease. In terms of changes that have to be made within the organization to accompany $100,000 decrease, what are you expecting to do? What are the hard decisions that you are expecting to have to make?
So we've already had to lay off a couple of our technicians through this. If things don't start to pick up pretty significantly in the next 30 to 60 days, we'll probably be looking at cutting at least one, if not two more technicians, which is going to be really hard because it's going to only leave us with myself and two other technicians to try and still manage the work we have coming in. But with cash flow, we just can't do much more than that unless things pick up. Okay.
So the current size of the team right now is how large?
So we have 5 technicians, our bookkeeper, and then we have a dispatcher.
Okay. And 5 technicians, the bookkeeper, yourself, and a dispatcher. So we have essentially 8 total individuals.
Yep.
Are all of those individuals W-2 employees, or are they 1099s?
They're all W-2.
They're all W-2. Okay. And is everyone except the bookkeeper full-time?
Yes.
Okay. Back to the 2 ways to be able to essentially, the 2 things that allow you to become wealthy. One, knowing how to make money. You're doing a good job of that, but the economy is unfortunately throwing a little bit of a wrench into a light company. So that's causing things to break apart a little bit, but I think we're going to be able to make sure that we get you back onto the level that you need to have the profits to hopefully keep some of your team members and ultimately grow your team, right? Is it safe to say that's what we're looking to accomplish?
Absolutely.
Okay. But the second thing that really prevents individuals from achieving the level of wealth that, quite frankly, they should is taxes. And you indicated not really knowing your tax situation, if you're overpaying or what's really happening there. Have you ever been hit with a penalty of any type related to your accounting or compliance or tax related needs?
The first 2 years in business, I had penalties both years for underpayment on our estimates.
Now, what was the reason that happened? Did you not have the bookkeeper yet? Did you not have an accounting professional in your corner? What was the reason for it?
So the first year I take responsibility for, I brought the accountant in probably too late in the year to really give me the advice I needed. So I feel like they did what they could with the time I gave them, which wasn't much. The second year I was a little shocked by because we got our quarterly vouchers from the accountant. I paid what were on them as they instructed me to. But I didn't realize that wasn't accounting for our growth. And so when we had that growth and the accountant looked at everything at the end of the year, we got hit with another unexpected tax bill. And I personally struggled understanding why that hadn't been communicated to us throughout the year.
No, that's a serious problem, and it's one of the major ones that we solve with our firm. We believe, first and foremost, that being proactive and working with our clients at the very least on a quarterly basis, and with the level of income that your business is generating, I'd say we should be monthly, potentially weekly. But we'll cover that in just a minute. I just want you to understand that we have a very unique way of approaching things, and specifically, we work with exclusively service people just like you. So that particular issue that is a very recurring theme. I know you guys talk to each other, and I know accountants don't normally have the greatest reputation for a reason, because those things happen way more frequently than they should. Now, it sounds like that issue may have been rectified, because you said first 2 years those things happened. Is it because you switched accounting relationships, you took things in-house? What was the major difference between that problem happening and it not happening again?
So after that second year, we did switch our accounting professional.
Okay.
And we made sure that going into that we did find someone that was definitely more in touch with our bookkeeper and staying on top of the numbers. They actually ran projections quarterly for us and gave us vouchers based on the income, not just off the prior year. And so we didn't pay penalties that year, and we were really pleased with that switch.
Okay. So that begs the question at this point, Amanda. You're still working with this individual, I take it.
We are, yes.
So why are we on the phone right now? Or do they not offer the level of service that our firm does in terms of being able to help with cash flow management? What is the reason that you would feel the need to look outside of your current service provider?
So it's a combination of a couple things. I feel like we should be getting more. I feel like there's another step that I may not be fully aware of that can help us with saving on taxes. Like I said, being able to look forward with the business instead of just looking at the here and now, which is kind of where I'm stuck at with things. And then our level of communication, we do struggle with that a little bit. We'll send an email and sometimes it'll take a week or two to get a response. If we call, it's very difficult to get someone on the phone besides the administrative assistant that doesn't have any knowledge to answer our questions. So our accountant currently, he's a solo person. It's just him and his administrative assistant. So I feel like the level of service that I'm hoping to get is not something he's going to be able to offer.
Okay. Now that's frustrating, but unfortunately it's not uncommon. Lack of responsiveness might have some good systems and processes in place, but it sounds like you need more immediacy in your relationship and ultimately a higher degree of overall expertise. Do you mind if I ask you what your current investment is in your accounting service? And the reason I ask is it sounds like you're used to paying hourly. You pay hourly for your bookkeeper. And I'm curious to know if that's the way your current accounting relationship works as well.
It is, yeah. So our end of year bill for last year averaged about $1,000. But I would say for the year in total with the invoices we received for our time we did spend with him, I think we were invested probably about $2,500 for the year. Okay. But I mean, we only talked to him probably 5 times throughout the year beyond tax time.
5 times beyond the year beyond tax time. So essentially $500 per conversation. Is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay. And then if
it was always a little bit of sticker shock when I got that.
And look, I think one of the major issues with that in particular, Amanda, that type of model is it doesn't encourage conversation. If you know that at the moment you pick up the phone, I start the clock, does that encourage communication or discourage it in your opinion?
It absolutely discourages it. I get on the phone and I have my 2 or 3 questions and I pound them down and get the answer and I'm like, great, thanks, bye.
Talk to you during tax season, right? So yeah, no,
it results in me doing a lot of Googling and researching, which is probably a little bit more dangerous than it is helpful in some circumstances.
And the flip side of that is that, well, there isn't even necessarily immediacy associated with it, right? I mean, I could understand, hey, if you get the guy right away or the gal, I'm not sure who, but you get them right away. Okay. But when you're waiting a week or longer for responses, you're dealing with their administrative assistant. I know from my perspective, my time is my most valuable asset. And I want to make sure that you agree with that, right? As long as we can make sure that your time is better spent and you're able to get a better return on how you invest your time, that's a good decision, right? Absolutely. Okay. So when we look at all in for your accounting, bookkeeping, tax services, we've got essentially a $2,500 per year accountant, and then we have essentially a $2,000 per month approximate bookkeeper. Sound about right?
Correct.
Okay. What if I could tell you, Amanda, based on what I know right now, that it would be possible for you to get a higher level of expertise and lower your overall bill? Essentially, an outsourced CFO and complete outsourcing of your bookkeeping, accounting, payroll functionality at an extremely high level. Would that be something that would interest you?
It would interest me, but I'm a little skeptical at how that could be.
Fair enough. I would be too if I was in your position. So what I want you to have an understanding of is that accounting, bookkeeping, and tax, there is an old world way of doing things and there's a new way of doing things. And so to help you kind of understand my analogy, I actually brought along with me something that keeps this at the front of my mind, and it sits on my desk. Do you know what I'm holding right now, Amanda?
A very old laptop.
A very old laptop. Do you know how much this laptop was worth when it first came out?
Probably like $400.
It was worth $4,500.
Holy cow.
$4,500 the day it launched. This is a PowerBook 540C. And I keep this on my desk because I want to be reminded that while technically this does the same thing as the computer you're on right now, you couldn't get $200 for it today. It's slower. It's not as efficient. It doesn't work. And if I were to say to you, well, you could have this, Amanda, or you could have this, which would you pick?
I'd go with the Apple.
Good, because that's what we have to offer to you. And what you're currently getting is what's on this side over here. Very simply put, the way we work with our clients, we're growth partners. Okay? And when we are growth partners, we have a very specific goal to help make you more profitable. I don't get the sense from the conversation that we've had that the bookkeeper that you're currently utilizing or the accounting relationship you have is focused on helping to make you more profitable. Because when you talk about cash flow management, when I think about that, that's how do I ultimately control cash more efficiently so that I make more money? Is that a correct way of phrasing your current situation?
Yes.
Okay. So if we recognize that as the case, the question is, how do we ultimately get more value, more efficiency for potentially less money? And one of the best ways to do that is to keep things under one roof. Now, as someone who offers lighting services, if I went and bought a light from Home Depot and then I brought it over and I gave it to my handy guy, and then I bought a light fixture from over there, and then I bought something else from over here, is that going to result in the best experience for my lighting needs?
No.
No.
It's going to be the exact opposite.
It wouldn't even come close. It would be a Frankenstein, right? And I'm sorry, but you've got Frankenstein accounting right now. And what I want to do is I want to bring you into the 21st century with us. So very simply, what we have is known as our CFO level package of services. And to be honest, what you've told me, you're a perfect fit for it. And the way that this works is we take care of essentially everything that you need: your accounting, your bookkeeping, your year-end taxes, tax planning, high-level CFO services, and specifically cash flow management. We will have weekly discussions with me, 30 minutes long, as well as monthly reporting that's going to allow us to inform those conversations on a weekly basis. Is everything clear so far?
Yes.
With that being said, it's a very simple monthly fee, okay? It's an investment. And when you think about an investment, what's the most important thing when you make an investment, Amanda?
What I'm getting back out of it.
A return. And what I want to make sure is crystal clear on that return is that, yes, we're not going to be the cheapest accounting firm in town. I don't get the sense that's what you're looking for anyway, but we're going to have an incredibly high degree of efficiency and focus on profitability for your business. Does that sound like something you'd like?
Yeah.
Cool. So very simply, the way our program works and the way the investment is structured is we take a look at your annual revenue as well as your projection for revenue. Now, you are doing about $475K last year, and you're expecting a little bit of a hit. I don't think you need to be prepared for that, but I understand having that as a concern, rightfully so with today's economic environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to price our services as a percentage of annual revenue. Now, that might sound strange, but if our goal is to make sure that your profit grows and your business grows as a result, and you pay as little in taxes as possible and you manage your cash flow, we really look at as all of our clients as partners in their growth. So what does that mean? We're going to essentially say 475K, 375K, somewhere in that general area. And if we're going to be specific, I'll say, okay, let's say $400,000 is what we can realistically project your company at right now. For our CFO level services and 5% of revenue, we're going to be into the ballpark of right around about $1,700 per month. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are, but would it be a better business decision to keep a technician as opposed to your bookkeeper?
Yeah.
Okay. Especially if you could get the same, well, not the same, a lower price, but a higher level of service in the process.
Yeah.
Okay. So for $1,700 per month, you'll have our CFO level package, our bookkeeping, our payroll, our tax planning, essentially everything that you need. Is there anything that would be missing from that you would expect as a part of that level of service?
I mean, not that I can think of offhand, but again, I only know what I know, so.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And so would you like to join our firm? Are you ready to get started with our services?
Well, I don't know that I can say that yet, Tyler.
I can appreciate that. So let's just try and understand why that's the case. So when I look at our clients, I always want us to have honest conversations that lead to powerful decisions. And I know change is hard. So what specifically is preventing you from moving forward? Because I can see already that we're saving you money. I can see that we're delivering a higher level of service. We're also being able to account for proactive conversations, being able to tackle your main problem of cash flow management. So from your perspective right now, Amanda, what is it that you feel is holding you back from joining us?
Well, there's a couple things, but I think the first thing that comes to mind is the transition process. When we made the switch from the first accounting person we used to the second accountant, we definitely had some hiccups in that transition, and it was really stressful on me. It was really stressful on my team. And so that's a big concern of mine, because I believe last time it took about a week's worth of my time to get everything shifted over. And that's a lot of lost revenue on my end.
It's a very valid concern. And I appreciate you sharing that with me, because it's one of the things a lot of people don't fully recognize ahead of time. And if we go back to just the analogy, right, this is what used to happen. And that, I imagine, is you went from one of these to maybe the model after it. And it was slow and it was painful and it just did not work the way it was sold to you and you imagined. And look, breaking up is hard, right? You're in a relationship one way or another when you look at it with either an in-house bookkeeper or with this accounting professional. And it's not necessarily going to be easy, but we can simplify the process as much as possible. We can handle the breakup letter. We can handle as much of the communication as necessary to help bring you on board, because I don't want this to be a burden. I want this to be as easy as possible. So if we're able to say, you know what, it's not going to take a week. It may take a couple of hours. I'm not going to say that there's no setup or no onboarding. It's a service business. We need to have communication, and we want to make that happen as streamlined as possible. But if we were able to say, rather than a week, couple of hours, a morning, maybe one afternoon, everything is fully taken care of. Is there anything else that would prevent you from moving forward with our services?
Well, one thing that concerns me that you brought up, and I'm kind of on the fence with this, is that weekly call. I get the importance of it, but I'm concerned about the time that that's taking me away, again, from generating revenue. My main role is to go out and sell the services and then to deliver on the services, and that's part of our revenue generation. And so the more time I'm not doing that, the less revenue we have coming in.
That's a very valid concern. And the first thing is that they're 30-minute calls. And what I want to make sure that we're doing is that 30 minutes on being able to analyze data to make better decisions, whether that's on the type of sales calls you should be going on, how efficient your marketing is working, how much money you're spending on your suppliers. Those decisions, if we delay them, let's say 3 or 4 weeks, there may be a lot of lost revenue in the process, a lot of lost profit. And so again, when we think about our value and what we have to offer to you, it's about helping you to be more efficient. Now, that being said, Amanda, we're flexible with how we work with our clients. If it's makes more sense to go to bi-weekly and maybe make them 45 minutes or keep them at 30 minutes, that's fine too. We have some clients that prefer monthly. That's okay too. But when we talk cash flow management, and that's specifically what you're coming to us for, people don't like to manage cash on a 30 or 60-day basis. I mean, that's effectively what you're saying is the problem, right? I'm waiting 60 days, 30 days. And what I'm saying is let's talk weekly and figure out how to solve these things more efficiently every single week. And it gets to a point where we solve it. Awesome. Maybe we don't need 30 minutes every week. Maybe we talk bi-weekly. Maybe we move it to monthly. But we're flexible in how that works. But in your best interest, I'd say let's try weekly. If it doesn't meet your expectations or if it feels like it's overkill, we can always pull it back a little bit.
Okay. So I'm a tradeswoman. I don't have a college education. So I guess part of what you're speaking when you say CFO services, it just goes over my head. I don't really know what that is, and that worries me.
Yeah. So one of the best ways to think about this, Amanda, is when businesses get to a certain level, typically $1 million up in revenue, and you're not there yet, but I have a feeling we're going to help you get there pretty soon. What ends up happening is the level of complexity that's associated with the financials of the business requires a high degree of expertise. Now, I have that expertise being a CPA and being someone who's run in that CFO position for $10 million plus companies. There is a certain amount of, again, just complexity when you have more transactions. So what I want you to just understand is that I'm taking the expertise from a classical education as well as being in larger entities, and I'm able to take those saving principles that apply for multi-million-dollar companies, and I'm able to reapply them back to a smaller company like yours, but the benefits are just as significant. So if I had to just very say that in a simple way, high level of expertise applied to even smaller companies is a worthwhile investment.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions that would prevent you from moving forward at this time?
The reports is a big obstacle for me. Give me a profit and loss and I can tell you what I'm making. I don't understand the balance sheet. I don't understand any of these other reports that my bookkeeper gives to me. And so I guess my question would be around that, like, how do you help me to understand those and best use them in my business to help me grow?
Sure. That's a great question. So there's a big rush. You've probably been able to read a lot of things in the newspaper, right? Your data is more valuable than oil. It's like a hard thing to think about. It's like not tangible, but it has this incredible value. Why? Why would that ever be the case? Because when you can read data appropriately, you can make better decisions. And so I think part of your problem is that the data that you're currently receiving is not in a very well readable format, right? You can say, well, I can get my P&L and I can read that, okay? But when it comes to things beyond that, it could be a formatting issue. It could be that the data that's getting pulled in is just simply wrong. It could be that even if you were able to read it in the right format, it's hard to be able to say what is actionable about this particular piece of information. And so this is really the difference between simply just information and a data-driven decision. A data-driven decision is what I will help you to be able to make. That's why I think weekly meetings as opposed to monthly meetings is something that's going to be more beneficial. Because if I give you something and you say, this looks like Chinese to me, Tyler, which is what most accounting looks like to most people, I'd say, well, I'm here to be your translator, Amanda. I'm here to make sure that you understand exactly what it is. If I were to drop you into the middle of China right now, Amanda, and do you speak Mandarin?
I do not.
Okay, you don't speak Mandarin. Do you think you'd have a good time?
Probably not.
Probably not. So is it safe to say that if I
want to go home?
Yeah, you cry. I want to go home, but you're like, I can't even get home. I don't even know how to ask for how to get home. And so the reason I bring that up is Warren Buffett. You know Warren Buffett, right? Oracle of Omaha, one of the richest men in the world. Accounting is the language of business. Quote right from his mouth. And the problem is most business owners speak no Mandarin or accounting in this case. And the key to having success in China or having a great success in the business world is being able to have a translator who can ensure that you have a fantastic experience. So that is really my job, to make sure that I translate the information into data-driven decisions. Is there anything else you're wondering about?
Yeah, one of the things I've always liked about the in-house bookkeeper is that she's in the office with me. So when I'm having a sales call or we're sending out a bid or a quote, she's there. She knows what's going on. So I feel like there's going to be some more work on my end, getting this information to you, helping you guys understand what we're doing, what's coming in, what's going out, how it ties to things. And so I just feel like it's going to be more work for me.
It's an interesting point. I like that you brought that up. And when I go, let's just talk about this for a second. When we think about your bookkeeper and we think about the relationship right now, what specifically do you need from them that would require you to then parlay to be the go-between, right? In other words, what data do you need to physically give to that person so that they're able to do their job? What is that?
Well, I'm not physically giving them anything right now because they have access to everything, but they have to get our estimates and our bids. They have to get our invoices from our suppliers and our vendors, being able to match that up to jobs based on invoice numbers. It's just a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that it took me a while to train her on, but now she's very on top of those pieces.
Sure.
And so I don't spend any time supervising that part of it. And so I feel like I'm going back to square one with this.
Well, the first thing is that you're not going back to square one because we know it needs to be done. We only work with people just like you. So our efficiency in terms of how we train you to be able to get certain pieces of information to us is actually a lot more efficient, because here's the deal. You submit a bid, you submit a quote, you have your bills. Right now, how are they getting entered into your software? What is the process? Do you just give it to your bookkeeper?
Yeah, she just pulls it out of the emails and plugs it in.
Okay. So you could either forward those to us, or when they're in your hand, you've got a smartphone. Yeah, Amanda? Mm-hmm. If I were to train you over 10 minutes to say, hey, just take a picture and then immediately uploads it to our secure client portal, do you think that would be too difficult, or do you think that would maybe be even a little bit more efficient?
That might be a little more efficient.
And do you think we could maybe even train you? Sorry?
It's a matter of me remembering to do that.
No, that's a great point. But if we're talking every week, do you think I'm going to let you forget?
No, probably not.
Probably not. And I also think that one of the most important things here, Amanda, is that it is possible to decentralize the responsibilities. Everything's running through Amanda right now, but do the technicians, do they handle any type of the bid process or nothing like that? Do they ever get invoices or receipts, or what is maybe the process for ultimately handling all of the information to the business? Does it all run through Amanda?
No, so the technicians, they'll do invoices when they're on the job if it's a service call. If they have to pick up supplies because maybe they don't have them on their van or their truck, then they have the receipt that goes with that, but they run it on the company card. I have one technician that does bids and estimates right now, and he'll bring that paperwork in and give it to the bookkeeper himself.
Okay, so it's very possible in this case, and when we talk about cash flow management, it has a lot to do with how quickly we get and receive the information. I think one of the major issues with your current cash flow problem is that you're also not only delayed in your vendors and what they have going on, but you're delayed in getting your own information inside of your own organization. And if we were to better have all of your team trained up to know what to do when they have those bills, those estimates, and I get that information, right? It comes to me, and then I sort through it and I make sure it's right. And then I bring it back to you. All of a sudden, we've actually cut out a lot of the problem and a lot of the processes that need to run through Amanda as a result. So I would say that if anything, we're going to save you a lot of time. I don't think it's going to, of course, there will be some training. I'm not going to downplay that. It does have to happen, but the long-term savings that you get from that will be tremendous, both in time and increased profitability. Anything else that you're working through right now before making a decision with us?
So my accountant said something to me when we filed our taxes back in February, and it didn't make sense to me, and my bookkeeper's not been able to get him on the phone to get a clear answer, but he said something about the fact that our taxes are not matching to our books for a couple things. It started with a D, I don't remember the word, but something's not matching. So I'm imagining there's going to be some cleanup, and I'm assuming there's going to be an additional cost for that.
Well, the answer is most likely yes. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. If you all of a sudden have to take care of another lighting fixture in another room that all of a sudden popped up, you would have to ultimately include that into your quoting process, and we're really no different. So it is possible that your bookkeeper has been doing things potentially incorrectly, or it's possible that your accountant simply misread the information that your bookkeeper provided to them and made a mistake on their end. I don't know enough right now to be able to accurately assess what damage there may be. There may be no damage. It may have just been an honest mistake. I can't accurately tell you that. But what I can tell you is that if you've had someone on staff, they most likely are doing 80 to 90% of their job correctly. Most likely. Okay. I think you would be wise enough to say this is way out of whack for that not to be the case. So unless there is a major hiccup that's going to require more than 10 hours of collective work from me or my team to be able to rectify, we're not going to have an additional bill on top of it. If it is more than that, we will just default to a discounted hourly rate because our CFO level clients receive discounted hourly rates. Our typical hourly rate is $250 an hour, but we would discount that down to $150 an hour for any CFO level clients. And I'll be honest, Amanda, I don't really believe, based on the conversation we've had, that I think it would take more than 10, but again, that's it's very rare that that's the case when someone's had an in-house bookkeeper and an accounting professional in their corner and they switch to us. So again, we've got 10 hours of leeway, and I think that would be more than enough to take care of you.
Okay, so with all these services, how many different people in your office am I going to be talking to try and figure out all these pieces?
It's a great question. You had concern about working through administrators and things of that nature. So the first thing is that when we have those scheduled meetings, whether weekly, biweekly, monthly, we know that call is coming, right? So you're able to better prepare for it. And since you know it's on the horizon and it's scheduled, everything is much more efficient. Okay. Now, if for some reason fire alarm goes off, letter from the IRS, bank account gets frozen, I'm not sure, right? Something happens. You need to get in touch with us immediately. You will be able to either schedule a call within 24 to 48 hours, and then I will be able to speak with you directly. Okay. So you will have that at the CFO level. You'll be able to schedule calls directly with me within 24 to 48 hours. The other thing is that for my CFO level clients, you do get instant access to a communication app known as Voxer. So if we need something that's more strategic, we'll use the 24 to 48 hour scheduling tool. Or if it's like you need immediacy, you need an immediate answer, I get to with those within 24 hours. So there's a couple of ways that we'll be able to maintain a high degree of communication. My request is that we save things for the weekly call because honestly, there isn't going to be too much that would be able to change in that moment. But if you feel that's the case, you will have that as an outlet as necessary.
Okay. So you've mentioned the CFO level. So
Yep.
Are there different levels that we can utilize to work with you?
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I don't even believe it's in either of our best interests to discuss the ones that are below that because we don't handle cash flow management below CFO. So
Okay.
we would essentially be your outsourced bookkeeping department. but we wouldn't be able to do ultimately the things that you're looking for, the proactive tax planning, the cash flow management. There's a number of services that we just have to remove and are ultimately delegated to my team members as opposed to being my direct responsibility. So again, I just don't feel it's in either of our best interests to have that conversation.
All right. So when you say proactive tax planning, when I've talked to my accountant in the past about tax planning, the gist of the answer I get is go put money in a retirement fund. I can Google that and figure that out. So
yes.
What else are you going to offer beyond that?
Well, there's a couple of things. And again, I think that the key here is that we haven't really done our full client discovery yet. So it would be unprofessional of me to suggest too many things, but I want to make sure that you know that it's beyond just say, hey, start a retirement account, right? Or make sure you max out your Roth account. There are a number of things that we can talk about that could help in that capacity. One of the things that we do have that I haven't brought up yet is we have a strategic relationship with a financial planning professional that's specific to tradesmen. So there is that avenue. Now that's separate from what we have to offer, but they do fantastic work. But we work closely with them to align your financial goals with the financial health of your business. Now, one of the things that you indicated is, well, I'm going down 100,000 right now, right? Or I'm expecting that to be the case. So do we pay the estimated tax payments on the 475, or do we pay the estimated tax payments on something that's a little bit more adjusted? Do we need the cash now or do we need it later? Do we need to analyze the entity type that you are? What entity type are you right now, Amanda?
I'm an S corporation.
Okay. So we might want to look at have you done any distributions lately?
Is that the same as a draw?
No.
Then I don't know.
Okay. I'm not
sure.
I
pay myself a paycheck and then I take some money out of the business beyond that each month.
Okay. So we could be more strategic on that front. Do you offer benefits to your employees in any capacity?
Not currently. I was hoping to do that this year, but finances just aren't looking promising for that.
Okay. So there's a number of things that we will explore that will be of a benefit to you. And the key is, well, it's one thing to say, oh, we should do this, but what is the actual tangible impact on your tax bill that's associated with making that decision? So we want to make sure that when we say tax planning, well, a plan is being able to predict what's going to happen when you make a decision. So we'll outline the possible decisions, and then we'll say, these are the corresponding potential benefits, assuming things continue along as we expect. And if things change, we'll be able to adapt as necessary. So again, I think that when you think about tax planning, it's not simply a strategy. It is meant to be multiple things that we'll consider to form the right path forward for you based on your goals and the health of your business.
Okay, so the one thing my bookkeeper does that you haven't mentioned at all is she does manage a lot of our accounts receivable and accounts payable. Is that part of this service?
We include that in the CFO level package, yes. All accounts receivable, accounts payable, we will handle 100% of that at the CFO level.
Okay, and then what regular access do I have to my information? Am I just getting reports once a week? Can I get them whenever I need them? Are they just at the end of the month?
You'll have access to a dashboard that you can log into at any time to be able to review the past reports and up-to-date reports based on the information we have at that time. We'll angle to make sure that we have perfect reports every Friday so that it's a more informed conversation, but I want to make sure that you do have essentially as you needed access to your financial information. So that will be included as a part of what we have to offer as well.
When you say perfect reports on Friday, is that like through Friday or through Thursday or through the last week? What does that mean?
We'll be able we can set the ranges. So if you say, I want to see the last 30, I want to see the last 30 as opposed to this month last year. I want to be able to see this week as opposed to last week, right? We can ultimately set up the reports to be as you need, but that's a great question.
All right. And like I said, I don't have a college education, so a lot of this goes right over my.
You could have fooled me. You got great questions.
I know my business really well. What level of, I don't want to use the term hand holding, but that's what I'm going to say. do you guys offer to get me to a point where I can look at these reports and really understand what I'm looking at versus looking at them and being like, well, I don't freaking know, back to work I go?
So that's a good question. And I think that there will be a natural point at which we get to our meetings, and you'll be the one asking me a question that normally I would have needed to bring up to you. And so when we think about the training process of getting you to be a business owner that makes better decisions with your numbers, it is a process that will naturally happen over time, right? I like to say you don't get what you want, you get what you repeat. And if we repeat the process of being able to make better decisions with accurate financial information, you'll develop really good habits that are related to your decision-making process because we've had the interaction. Like if you don't have the interaction at that level, it will forever remain Chinese. But if you continue to interact with your translator, if you continue to study the language, well, yes, you will pick up a certain degree of proficiency. Now, are you going to become fluent? Probably not. Are you going to become dangerous enough that you'd be able to order some dim sum noodles or whatever when you're there? Yeah, you could do that. You could be able to call a taxi. You could be able to make reservations. You could be able to do certain things. So I'd say that, yeah, you'll be able to have a high degree of proficiency very quickly with us.
All right. And then going back to the cost,
investment.
So you said that's based on a percentage of my revenue. So if my revenue drastically drops, does that lower my fee with you guys, or am I at that fee until I grow? What does that look like?
Yeah, so this is essentially a fee that is, and I like to say investment. It is an investment that is going to be consistent for a period of a year. So let's look at the opposite side of the coin. Let's say you double. Let's say you go up from 400 to 800. Well, you still have the benefit of the fee being where it is up until next year when we come back to the call and we say, okay, the new adjusted amount based on your current revenue and a little bit of projections is X. Now, I've already baked into my number, my price for you, essentially the loss. So I'm basing my own projection right now on the information that you provided to me. I'm not basing it on the fact that I think you're going to go to 600, even though I think that's going to be the case because of our services. I'm basing it upon your honest answer of the fact that you think you're going to go down due to what's going on in the economy. So that's already baked into our pricing. So I'm trying to look out for you as best as I can with that. I have to be clear about one other thing here, Amanda. I have to run in 5 minutes. So with that being said, is there any other major questions that would prevent you from being able to move forward with our services at this time?
I don't know that I have any other questions at this point. I think I just need to think about it. It's a big change, and I know I'm spending more than that with my bookkeeper and my accountant currently, but it's scary to shift all of it at once versus just one aspect.
Is there anything at all that I could offer to you that would ultimately make this an easier decision for you? I think I covered basically everything: better tax planning, cash flow management. Our pricing is right in line with where it needs to be to make sure that, hey, you save some money, be able to potentially keep an extra technician on board or reapply that back into your marketing budget and be able to offset potential losses. Is there anything at all that I could potentially offer to you at this point that would say, you know what, let's make it happen?
Do you have any type of guarantee on your services and them helping me grow my business?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a 90-day money back guarantee. So if you look at this in 90 days from now and you say this is not worth it, I did not enjoy the experience, I am spending more time, it's not working. I've literally never had a single person take us up on this, but we offer it as a peace of mind because I know we're asking for big commitments. It's a big change, but we believe in what we have to offer. So with that being said, Amanda, we have a 90-day money back guarantee. Is that enough to move the needle to get you to come on board with our firm at this time?
I'm still going to need to think about it. It's a big decision.
Look, I can appreciate that. And even if you are willing to say, hey, I'm ready to go, I'd say, hey, you need at least 72 hours to think this over. That's a personal rule that I have, is that every decision takes 72 hours, no matter how good it sounds. If it sounds good today, it'll sound good in 72 hours. With that said, Amanda, can we book a date and time 72 hours from now that'll give you enough time to think this over? Is that safe?
Yeah, we can do that. That's fair.
Beautiful. So I have to run, but I just want to say this has been a great call. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. I think you have a fantastic business. You're clearly thinking about things the right way. Is there anything else at all that I can help you with before we run?
Nope, I appreciate it. I'll think about it and we'll talk in a couple days.
Awesome. I will send you my calendar invitation and just same exact procedure as before. So talk to you soon. And thanks so much for the opportunity, Amanda.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. So I literally actually have to go to have do I have a call? Do I have a call? I do have a call. I have a call. So I have to run actually in a minute. So unfortunately, the review is going to be super, super fast. Amanda, did I miss any major points? You really just kind of helped me out at the end, asking all the questions, but was there any major points that I missed?
Not that I can think of. I think we hit all of it.
Did you, and again, I think that what we wanted to accomplish here with the no, I'm not going to buy is that's fine, right? Why not? What's preventing it from happening? Let's isolate that issue. Well, I'm not sure. There's some problems, efficiency, right? There were a number of things that came up. Well, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? What's preventing this from happening? And it wasn't really price related because when I looked at what Amanda's currently investing and I did my 5% number, I was like, oh man, right? Like this is pretty much a slam dunk. Now, a couple of people might be out there saying, well, you offered too much. You said too much. You offered too much. You shouldn't do AR. You shouldn't do maybe if I'm as efficient, as good as I think I should be at my business, this should be a slam dunk. Amanda, would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, I thought that was pretty cool from my perspective. Amanda, did you enjoy it from your perspective?
That was awesome. Yeah. I loved how you just kept the conversation going after the many no's you got.
Yeah, look, and again, it's just like, what is preventing this? What is preventing this? Like, I'm doing the math here. It makes sense to me. And just as a final parting shot, because I do have to run, I can't believe I didn't even have a chance to do the full breakdown of this. Maybe we'll have a chance to do it tomorrow or something on the Real Free Tool Friday. And maybe I'll even review it and I'll take some notes. But the point is that keep the curiosity, like keep feeding the conversation because you're curious about what is holding them back? Why can they not make this happen? Like when you're looking at this and you're giving me these answers, right? And my notes are all over the place. I didn't really follow my questionnaire as best as I could because that's going to happen, right? Like the questions are here to help you think about what you should be asking. You're never going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like it's never going to work like that. But what you want to do is you want to come prepared, ready to ask great questions. You want to be able to continue to be curious. If you're curious, you'll get much closer to isolating why they're not going to make a decision and then build your presentation or your answers around solving that problem. How many times did I bring up cash flow management? How many times did I bring up proactive service? How many times, like it kept coming up because that's the major pain point. So, Amanda, anything else as a parting shot?
No, that was awesome. Thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. And thanks so much, everyone. Block partying down below, whatever you got.